Good morning. I'll call this meeting to order. We'll stand for the pledge, and Commissioner Schultz will give the invocation.
Dear God, we gather today to do the business of the county. Be with us. Give us guidance, wisdom, knowledge, patience, and courage to do the right things for the right reasons. And if it be your will, send seasonable weather and rain to this country. We appreciate all the gifts of your good guidance. In your name we pray. Amen.
Okay, first thing on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do we have any changes or a motion on that?
I so move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. We have time now for public comment, and I believe we do have a couple of folks who would like to speak to us this morning.
Yes, we have Pam Toller and Deb Whaler.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Deb Euler, Director for Finney County United Way, and with me is Pam Toller, the Director for the Finney County Library. And we just wanted to come and talk to you about the warming shelter that we had a couple of weeks ago and give you some statistics and talk a little bit about some of the logistics and then our plans going forward as to what we're trying to put together because we all know that the weather in January is always unpredictable. And for about the last 3 or 4 years, I mean, it has been, we've needed to have some kind of a warming shelter and something in place. And this year was kind of one of the first years that we've been able to fully staff a warming shelter. And so we had the shelter open from Friday, and it was at the library. I'll let Pam talk a little bit about how we came about having the library be that warming shelter.
So there's been a need in the last few years, and my understanding was that the JDC was going to be used. With using the JDC, it is a secured facility, and so if anyone has a warrant or a criminal background, they are not able to get in for warming. And that bothered me, and so I contacted Paul recently with emergency management and asked if there was a way we could make things easier without barriers. And it took a little bit, but we were able to do it.
Yeah, and we were very grateful that we were able to make that happen. The library is a perfect place. I mean, it's one of the last places in the community that really is open to everybody. And if you think about it, it has everything, and has movies, it had games, and there's toys, and there's a separate place from the library in order to house people. And we were able to keep it open from Friday, the 23rd, from 5 p.m. until Monday at 9 a.m. And then we closed during the day and then opened it up again at 8 o'clock that Monday evening because of the temperatures, and kept it open until Tuesday at 9 a.m. There were 40 different shifts available, actually 80, because we had enough slots for 2 people. Pam and the library staff were there at all times because they are familiar with the library. And and also I know she had visited with her board to be able to do this and get their approval. We had 32 volunteers that stepped forward to help us man every single one of those shifts. There wasn't a single shift that was not covered during that entire time, which in my opinion was phenomenal. That the community stepped up. I mean, we didn't even have the sign-up sheet or anything ready until 4 o'clock that Friday, the 23rd. And it was amazing all throughout the weekend, throughout the night. 4 people brought in food. We had a lot of food. It was great. We were a little worried about how we were going to feed everybody, but again, it's one of those things where it was loaves and fishes. I mean, it just happened. People just brought food, and when volunteers came, we were just so excited. So Friday night, 2 people stayed at the shelter. Saturday night, 2 people stayed at the shelter. Sunday night, 5 people stayed at the shelter, but they fed 15 additional people who came over from Emmaus House to eat. And we had a lot of food to be able to do that. And then Monday night, 4 people stayed. And it was just remarkable. I mean, I had put out that post, as I said, at 4 o'clock on that Friday, and it was shared 149 times. And so, when you think about, well, how do people know about the shelter? Not everybody's on Facebook. However, when it's shared 149 times, that gives people the understanding that, oh, I need to call somebody. If my neighbor isn't able to, doesn't have heat. I mean, there was one point in time where we learned of an apartment building that didn't have heat. And it was 11 o'clock at night, and we thought, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? How do we get people here? And so going forward, now is when we're actually in the planning stages for making sure that we're prepared come next year, or if we have to do this again in a few months, because we all know that the weather is unpredictable. We could have a snowstorm in April. And so we have to make sure that we have those policies in place and plans in place, and that's where we've been working with Paul to make sure that we've got people who are CPR certified. The library has an AED. We need to make sure that people who are there know how to use that if we need to. And also just vetting those volunteers, making sure that we have a list of people that we can call and say, hey, we have this open, can you volunteer? Not only that, but then also, that communications plan for how do we let people know that this is open and available to anybody. And I know that there are other places that are looking at serving as warming shelters too, and if need be, that's great, because if we need that overflow, you just never know. So now is the time when we are planning for that. But we thank the county and we thank you for, your support and for our ability to even do this, and for the library for hosting that. So thank you guys for everything that you did. And we'll stand for questions.
And I think there's a meeting coming up on the 9th.
Yep, St. Dominic's.
At St. Dominic. I think they want to be involved as well. So I think that was good. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank
I
you.
just want to say thank you, especially Pam.
Who didn't sleep for 3
getting
days.
the ball rolling on this, and Deb for jumping right on board. It was an amazing humanitarian effort, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming this morning. Does anyone else have an item for public comment? And hearing none, we'll close the public comment. Number 4, special presentations, recognitions, and proclamations.
Nothing there.
None there? Okay. Any old business? Looks like the insurance roof claim and repair replacement plan.
Good
Nolan?
morning, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Nolan Till, Director of Maintenance and Special Projects. Before you today, the Board of County Commissioners is asked to reconsider and approve the staff to proceed with the claim of reconciliation and repair planning for multiple county buildings damaged on July 6, 2025 due to a hail event. So on January 6, 2025, Finney County experienced a hail event that caused damage to multiple county facilities. Staff coordinated with Travelers Insurance to evaluate potential insurance coverage and develop preliminary estimates for roof repair and replacement. On December 1st, 2025, I presented an agenda item requesting authorization to proceed with the claim reconciliation and repair planning. At that meeting, the Board of County Commissioners elected to table the item to allow additional review related to scope, sequencing, and facility-specific considerations, including the Law Enforcement Center, or LEC. Since that time, staff has continued to evaluate building conditions, insurance impacts, and long-term capital implications. Particular attention has been given to the LEC, which is the county's largest and most complex facility and is scheduled to be a major remodel associated with a voter-approved jail and law enforcement improvements funded through the November 5th, 2025 tax referendum. So on January 8th, 2026, HMN Architects, the design firm for the jail and LEC remodel, provided a written guidance recommending that the roof work associated with the LEC be addressed as part of the remodel project and paid for with referendum funds. HMN advised that the roof replacement and coordination have always been a part of their remodel planning, and that the final roof design will require careful sequencing due to continued use of existing roof units, relocation of exhaust fans and plumbing events, installation of new or resized HVAC, and capping of vacated penetrations. The guidance confirms that the LEC roof will be subject to multiple future modifications as part of the remodel. Completing insurance-funded roof repairs in advance of work would likely result in duplication construction, reduced value from the repair investment, and increased coordination risk. In addition, staff has consulted with the county's insurance representatives regarding potential impacts of filing a claim on the LEC. Due to the size and value of the facility, the claim associated with the LEC carries a higher likelihood of contributing to increased property insurance premium across the county's portfolio. Staff has therefore evaluated the overall claim strategy with an emphasis on fiscal responsibility, long-term risk management, and coordination with approved capital projects. This item being brought forward to allow the Board of County Commissioners to consider the full claim reconciliation and repair and replacement plan with the benefit of additional analysis. So before you, I have 4 alternatives. They're the same 4 from the December 1st one. The Board of County Commissioners may approve staff to proceed with a claim reconciliation and repair replacement plan for 11 county buildings damaged in the July 6, 2025 hail event. Estimated overall cost is $1,859,315.45, with an opportunity to receive up to $498,253.01 additionally from travelers. The Board of County Commissioners may decline, alternative 2, the Board of County Commissioners may decline to approve staff to proceed with the claim reconciliation repair replacement plan for any county buildings damaged in the July 6, 2025 hail event. Alternative 3, the Board of County Commissioners may provide an alternative to staff to proceed with the claim reconciliation repair replacement plan for a selected few buildings damaged on the July 6, 2025 hail event. And then the 4th alternative, the Board of County Commissioners may table consideration to a future meeting to allow additional review, legal review, and further comparison to building-specific scope of values. Recommendation, staff recommends alternative 1, that the Board of County Commissioners may approve to proceed with the claim reconciliation and repair replacement plan on 11 county buildings damaged on July 6, 2025 hail event. Estimated cost, once again, is $1,859,315.45, with that opportunity to get $498,253.01 additionally from travelers. A fiscal note, roof repairs and replacement would be paid out of the Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund, the GL code 171-16-5510, and our current balance in that fund is $2,936,910.86. I do have Trent Speck is in the audience today. He works with Iron Insurance. He's our representative, and there's several attachments, but any questions I can answer?
Just a point of order for Derek. Do we need to remove this item from the table before we take any action?
That is correct. You'll have to vote to untable it and then vote to approve.
Okay, do we have a motion to that effect?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And that motion carries. All right, does anybody have any questions for Nolan?
This will be my first motion in 3 years. I move that we approve alternative number 1 as recommended by staff and proceed with settlement of the claim. I set forth an alternative number 1.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Thanks, Nolan.
Thank you. I'd also like to mention real quick, with the library, our VRF system did keep it very warm in there, so we were able to house those individuals at the library due to the new VRF system. So just want to add that. Thank you.
Okay, next item for new business, we have appointments to the Finney County Fair Board. Tiffany.
Hi,
Good morning.
how are you?
Good. You can
I
pull
guess,
that microphone down a little bit. There.
how's that better?
Go ahead and state your name for the public, please.
My name is Tiffany Harmon. I'm the president of the Finney County Fair Board. That is really loud. I guess we just have 2 new members that submitted that wanted to be a part, and we had a bunch of resignations. So pretty much we need your approval for the 2 members that want to join, and that is Lindsay Clark and Sarah Bartell.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Tiffany? Do you have any comments, Commissioner Basque? As
They need them.
Fair Board oversight? Very good. Would you like to make a motion?
I would move that we approve the 2 new, Sarah Bartell and Lindsay Clark to the Finney County Fair Board, each for a 3-year term to expire 12/31/2028 with an auto renewal option.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Thanks, Tiffany.
The only other thing I'll say is I just got another resignation, and that's Kyle Deaver. So he's no longer on the board as well.
Okay, so you'll be bringing us some
Hopefully.
candidates,
Hey.
hopefully.
We need members, so.
Okay, thank
Thank you.
you. Next on the agenda, amendment to HMN Architects contract.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
In November of 2025, Finney County voters approved a dedicated 0.5% countywide retail sales tax to fund the construction of a new jail detention facility and the remodel of the existing law enforcement center. The voter-approved scope included both facilities as a single integrated public safety investment, with all project-related costs to be paid solely from the sales tax revenues. HMN Architects was previously selected through a qualifications-based process and is currently under contract to provide architectural and engineering services for the jail detention facility project. As the jail project has advanced into full design and construction documentation, it has become increasingly clear that the LEC remodel is operationally, logistically, and technically interdependent with the detention facility project. The LEC remodel is not a standalone effort. Timing, sequencing, temporary relocations, security considerations, building systems coordination, and operational continuity for law enforcement functions are all directly tied to the construction and commissioning of the new detention facility. Decisions made for one facility materially affect the other. Managing these 2 projects under separate architectural teams would introduce unnecessary coordination risk, inefficiencies, and potential cost escalation. The attached G802 amendment modifies the existing agreement with HMN Architects to add full design services for the LEC remodel consistent with the pre-referendum drawings and voter-approved scope. The amendment also adjusts the overall project budgets and authorizes HMN Architects to proceed with the necessary construction documents to ensure both projects move forward in a coordinated and efficient manner. As part of this amendment, HMN Architects has agreed to reduce their professional fee from their customary 9% to 7% for the cost of the work. This reduction reflects a collaborative approach and recognition of the efficiencies gained by delivering both closely related projects under a single architectural team. This fee adjustment represents a meaningful cost savings to the county while maintaining continuity, institutional knowledge, and design accountability across both facilities. All costs associated with this contract amendment, including architectural fees and construction costs for the LEC remodel, will be paid exclusively from the voter-approved 0.5% sales tax. No general fund or property tax revenues will be used for this purpose. So there are 3 alternatives for the governing body to choose from. The Board of County Commissioners may approve the amendment to the professional services agreement with HMN Architects Incorporated to include design services for the law enforcement center remodel. 2, the Board of County Commissioners may deny the amendment. And 3, the Board of County Commissioners may give staff further direction. It is staff's recommendation that the Board of County Commissioners approve alternative number 1 and authorize the amendment to the professional services agreement with HMN Architects Incorporated to include full design services for the law enforcement center remodel as outlined in the attached G802 amendment. So all costs associated with this amendment, including architectural services and construction of the law enforcement center remodel, will be funded entirely by the voter-approved 0.5% sales tax. The amendment does not increase the tax rate and remains within the scope authorized by qualified voters. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Derek?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
the modification provides that the rate of the services is at 7% rather than the customary 9% for jail services, correct?
That is correct.
That's a substantial savings on this size of a project, wouldn't you think?
Absolutely.
And as part of any motion to approve this amendment, you want the chairman to sign, or are you signing this?
We'd have the chairman sign.
Very good.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Yes, I'd move that we approve the amendment to the professional services agreement as outlined in alternative number 1 and authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And that motion carries. Thank you, Derek. And looks like you have the next item as well.
So the governing body is asked to consider and approve the selection of a civil engineering and survey firm to provide professional services for the Finney County Detention Center project. As part of the voter-approved jail detention facility project, Finney County must procure qualified civil engineering and land surveying services to support site development, infrastructure design, and construction coordination. These services are essential to advancing the project from design into construction and ensuring that the facility is built in compliance with applicable engineering standards, permitting requirements, and site conditions. HMN Architects Incorporated, the county's architect of record for the detention center, assisted staff in preparing and issuing requests for proposals for both civil engineering and survey services. The requests for proposals were issued on December 11th, 2025, and interested firms were provided until January 23rd, 2026 to submit proposals. The RFPs were distributed to multiple qualified firms with experience in similar public safety institutional projects. In response to the RFPs, 2 firms submitted proposals for consideration: Call Valley Engineering and SMH Consultants. In addition, several firms were contacted and elected not to submit proposals. And those were Schwab Eaton, Kirk and Michael, and ProStake Surveying for surveying only. And the reasoning being was a lot of it was timing and availability. HMN Architects reviewed the submitted proposals for qualifications, scope alignment, project understanding, coordination capability, and cost reasonableness. Based on this review, HMN Architects recommends Call Valley Engineering for both civil engineering and survey services. Call Valley Engineering submitted coordinated proposals for both disciplines, which is a key advantage for a project of this complexity. The detention center requires close integration between boundary and topographical surveying, grading, and drainage design, utility coordination, and construction administration. Awarding both services to a single firm reduces coordination risk, improves schedule control, and minimizes the potential for discrepancies between survey data and engineered site plans. The proposed scope of services from Call Valley Engineering includes boundary and topographic surveying of the approximate 14-acre site, preliminary and final site design, including grading, drainage, utilities, and access, coordination with HMN Architects throughout the design, and construction administration services to support implementation. The proposed fees from Call Valley Engineering are survey services would be at $14,500 plus reimbursable title costs if requested. Surveying engineering services at $45,500, and the total professional services contract is $60,000. The proposal submitted by SMH Consultants include both civil engineering services and land surveying services, with survey work specifically identified within the survey and base mapping portion of their scope of services, and a lump sum not to exceed fee of $80,225. While both firms proposed a single firm delivery method, HMN Architects determined that Call Valley's engineering's approach demonstrated stronger alignment with the project's coordination needs, local site conditions, and anticipated construction sequencing, particularly given the level of ongoing interaction required between the civil engineer, survey, and architect throughout design, development, and construction administration. This evaluation was based on overall project fit, coordination efficiency, and delivery approach, not just cost alone. All costs associated with these professional services are part of the overall detention center project and will be paid from the voter-approved 0.5% sales tax. So there are 3 alternatives for the governing body to choose from. Alternative number 1, the Board of County Commissioners may approve the selection of Call Valley Engineering to provide civil engineering and survey services for the Finney County Detention Center project. 2, the Board of County Commissioners may deny the selection, and 3, the Board of County Commissioners may give staff further direction. It is staff's recommendation that the Board of County Commissioners approve alternative 1 and authorize the selection of Caw Valley Engineering to provide civil engineering survey services for the Finney County Detention Center project. The total cost of civil engineering and survey services is approximately $60,000 if selected alternative 1. All costs will be funded exclusively through the voter-approved half-cent sales tax, and approval of this item does not increase the tax rate and remains within the scope authorized by voters. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Derek?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
Caw Valley Engineering has an office here in Garden City,
Yep.
and since they're have a firm here, and that's the recommendation, my motion is to approve the selection of Caw Valley Engineering, Inc., provide civil engineering and survey services for Finney County Detention Center project at the cost not to exceed as stated in the memo.
Excellent and well-worded motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And that motion carries. And one more, Derek.
Yeah. So the Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider and approve a task order with Wilson and Company Incorporated in the amount of $47,826 for technical representation on behalf of the City of Garden City and Finney County regarding the Kansas Department of Transportation bypass study. At the joint meeting on January 20th, 2026, the City of Garden City and Finney County directed staff to coordinate with Wilson and Co. to develop a task order to provide technical assistance to the City of Garden City and Finney County on the current US 83-50-400 bypass study that the Kansas Department of Transportation is currently conducting. Wilson and Company has been significantly involved in previous discussion on the topic on behalf of the City of Garden City. KDOT has issued a request for proposals for professional services related to the bypass study, with proposals due February 4th, and KDOT anticipates executing an agreement with the selected consultant by the end of March 2026, with the study scheduled to begin April 1st, 2026, and take approximately 1 year to complete. The proposed task order provides for Wilson and Company to serve in a technical advisory and representation role specific to the bypass study. Under this role, Wilson and Company will provide technical representation for both the City of Garden City and Finney County throughout the KDOT study process to assist staff and elected officials in communicating and advocating for local interests. The scope of work includes attendance at scoping meetings, stakeholder meetings, public meetings, and combined city-county commission meetings, participation in internal and informal discussions with KDOT and its selected consultant, and high-level reviews of draft and final study materials to evaluate impacts to the city and county interests. So there are 3 alternatives for the governing body to choose from. Number 1, the Board of County Commissioners may approve the task order with Wilson and Company and for $47,826 to provide technical representation on behalf of the City of Garden City and Finney County as it relates to the KDOT bypass study, and indicate its preference to utilize the Joint Economic Development Incentive Funds for payment of the task order. If this is the direction of the Board of County Commissioners, the City Commission would be asked to consider use of the Joint Economic Development Incentive Funds at its regularly scheduled meeting on February 3rd, 2026. Alternative number 2, the Board of County Commissioners may approve the task order with Wilson and Company for $47,826 to provide technical representation on behalf of the City of Garden City and Finney County as it relates to the KDOT bypass study, and request that the City of Garden City pay for the task order and bill the county for 50% of the cost. Under this option, Finney County's share would be $23,913 to be paid from the Finney County General Fund, with the remaining $23,913 to be paid by the City of Garden City. And 3, the Board of County Commissioners may provide staff with alternative direction. It is staff's recommendation that the Board of County Commissioners approve the task order with Wilson and Company for $47,826 to provide technical representation on behalf of the City of Garden City and Finney County related to the KDOT US 83-5400 bypass study, and indicate its preference to utilize the Joint Economic Development Incentive Funds for payment of the task order. And the fiscal impact on this, or the fiscal note, if the Board of County Commissioners select alternative 1, the full cost of the task order in the amount of $47,826 would be paid from the Joint Economic Development Incentive Funds, subject to consideration and approval by the City Commission. Based on current information, the Joint Economic Development Incentive Fund has an available balance of approximately $499,229.63. If the $47,826 task order is funded from the Joint Economic Development Incentive Funds, the remaining available balance would be approximately $451,403.63, and the Joint Economic Development Incentive Fund was established by the City of Garden City and Finney County to support projects that advance economic development and shared community priorities, and is jointly discussed when the use of funds is proposed. If the Board of County Commissions selects alternative number 2, Finney County would be responsible for $23,913, representing 50% of the total task order cost. The county share would be paid from the County General Fund account 001-01-5428 or other contractual, with remaining $23,913 paid by the City of Garden City. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Derek? Yes.
Derek, I want this design work done as soon as possible, and KDOT has a horrible habit of making what should be short work into 10-year projects. So I think the use of the tax dollars, either from the Economic Development Fund or from our general fund, is highly important to motivate KDOT to work with our preferred engineering firm to make this happen. I'd like to see construction in 28, not in 32 or 38. So I don't see any other alternative, and I want to make a blended motion so that we take it out of the Economic Development Fund if the city agrees. If the city doesn't agree, we already have authorized us to pay half of it out of the general fund. Do you see any problem with that?
I do not.
Is that your motion?
Not yet.
Okay.
I didn't know if there was any other discussion.
Okay.
All right, my motion is that we authorize the task order with Wilson and Company for $47,826 to be paid from the Joint Economic Development Fund. And secondly, should the city not concur to use the Economic Development Fund, that we order and authorize the payment of 1/2 of the Wilson and Company bill from the general fund, with the city paying the other half and us paying $23,913 to be paid from the general fund. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And that motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 7, staff reports. I neglected to say at the beginning that we need to amend the agenda to add 7D. The county attorney has requested to give her report.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And that motion carries. So we'll start with EMS 2025 year-end report.
Got to move this down. Tall guy was talking on it first. Good morning, Commissioners. Kenny Smith, Director of Finney County EMS. This is just to kind of give you a synopsis of what happened last year, 2025, as it has brought a whirlwind of changes to the department. So just to recap some of the things that we've seen, in April, I started as director. From there, we initiated 3 committees, which have performed very well since then. When starting in April, the service was down approximately 7 positions, and by the end of the year, all available positions were filled with 2 EMTs, 2 AEMTs, and 4 paramedics. The success of getting those spots filled is recognized by all the people that were involved in our hiring process, and specifically the hiring committee members that organized it all. Our recruitment and uniform committee members have made strides in making changes needed to move our service forward with our uniforms and stuff like that, and recruitment, trying to get out there to the community. We have a handful of policies that are in the process of getting revised and or created. We moved into Station 3 and started the new development, started development of the new Station 1 along with the Health Department. Along with Station 3, all of the new livable items were acquired. A new cot, a stair chair were purchased with that sales tax money. We've purchased and installed new lockable medication locks and boxes in all ambulances and stations to be more secure with our scheduled drugs. A new ambulance was put into production and should arrive in the summer of '27. One position out of that initial 7 was that of the assistant director, which was interviewed in the last quarter of '25, and he has recently started at the beginning of this year. And lastly, we ended 2025 with 4,184 calls, which is up approximately 260 calls from 3,924 calls in 2024. Can we move to the next one? And I'll introduce him when I get done, so, because he is here. So, nope, the pie chart, please. So it should be with up behind this one. No? There we go. This is just again to show you the volume of calls that we took. This is throughout the year. Noticing that Station 1 is the majority. They're within the city of 40% of calls within Finney County, and then it just kind of works down from there. The next one is a little bit more easily followed, just because I do break it into stations, whether or not it's city or county. So Station 1, approximately 1,845 calls. Station 3, just in the inception, at the beginning of the year, we already started to segregate as far as what Station 1 would be running and what Station 3 would be running, just to see what we would be doing. So this is the full year of calls that were on that side of our map, if you will, for Station 3, and that'd be 1,149 calls for Station 3 last year. And then when we move down, so this is just kind of the in synopsis from QuickMed Claims, which is our third-party biller. Our first one is a trip count. So this doesn't include, again, the calls that we do not transport. This is only transported calls, because this is all that they see is people that we have, or the calls that we have transported in, and that's the only thing that they bill. We don't bill for anything if we go and render aid and we don't transport. That is non-billable. So we have to be able to transport that person to be able to submit for claims and stuff like that. Going to the next one, the bar on the left is showing you the last 3 years as far as how many billable calls were done. And you can see it's pretty close as far as all together. And then the graph on the right is just kind of representation showing you that the big payer is Medicare, and then it kind of just branches out off of that with Medicaid. Self-pay is on the left, and then on the far right is your commercial, so like your Blue Cross Blue Shield and stuff like that, commercial insurances. If we move to the next one, another representation, just another graph basically of the same thing of the last one, just showing you that Medicare is our top payer. Next one is the types of calls. I always like to try to include this because it does matter if it is a BLS or an ALS call, whether it's basic life support or advanced life support, because it does make a difference in what is being billed. And you can see in the last half of 2025, the BLS volume is higher than the ALS, and it just means that ultimately what was billed potentially is a little bit lower than what would have been billed if it was an ALS type of call, is all that's showing you. And if we move to the next one, again, this is just showing you the 3-year deposit trend. So 2025, as of the beginning of January, middle of January, is 801,000 and 801,000 basically. That didn't sound right. Anyway, that number will go up as far as the next 6 months goes on, just because that's, people will start paying or or the latter part of the year, some of the insurance companies don't get their bills out until later. So that number is projected most likely to go up and get closer or a lot closer to the 2024 year-end deposit. So if we'll go to the next one, this is showing you monthly deposits, just to show you how they come in and stuff like that. It also kind of correlates to when we get our run sheets submitted to them and finalized. Some of them do get kind of held back because maybe there's a question on what was done during the call that the doctor has to get involved in or something like that. And so it kind of fluctuates a little bit, but we do try to make sure our doctor stays apprised of maybe some questions that need to be arised. We always try to include the doctor on advanced ALS, so like a cardiac arrest or a stroke alert or any type of like maybe a STEMI alert or a possible heart attack. Then we always try to get that doctor to look at that run sheet to make sure that things are done correctly. So with that is the end. I'll take any questions on this.
Any questions for Kenny?
Kenny, great report.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the leadership that you've brought to EMS as well as the team to look at the hiring process. Outstanding work by all.
They did a really good job. So
Question I have, Holcomb facility, are we
Yes.
going to, what's the future of that? Are we going to man that, or what's your thoughts? I mean, I see on here it was like 1%.
it really is the call volume, it's a logistical nightmare on my end, just for the mere fact that, like right now, how we staff is Station 1, we have 2 crews, and Station 3, we have 1 crew. If we were to take 1 crew from Garden and put them in Holcomb, right, that 1 Garden crew, whenever they go out on a call, then that Holcomb crew potentially would have to come in maybe halfway, is kind of historically what we've done, to stand by for another call, just because Station 1 is that busy. And so then you start looking at, in the middle of the night, you're bringing them in halfway, and then the cost and the wear and the tear on the ambulance as well of just doing that over and over again. It really, time-wise, it's not really a big difference. Before, when we didn't have Station 3, our response times from Station 1 to East Garden Village or Towns Riverview is about the same as Station 1 to Holcomb. So I don't feel like we're really being a detriment to that part of it. I know with the new construction that's coming out with Sunflower, that may raise a little bit of concerns just because of the increase of people that are going to be out there. But I would like to staff it, but at the same time, Garden 1, the station there is busy enough that I'm also leery of it, just because of then the response to another call that's in Garden may be hindered in that matter too. So it's just easier to have both of them in Garden 1.
So question to you or Derek or Nolan, do we own that building?
Yes, we do.
So I think that's something down the road. I think we need to visit on if we're not going to house it, what are we going to do with that facility?
Yeah, right now we're researching how it was purchased. I don't know if it was purchased through a grant, but we need to figure that out so we can find out the options that we have available for that building.
Thank you. Great report.
Thank you. I would also have Luke come up. So Luke Sullivan is a paramedic from Garden City Community College. He moved away. He did work for Finney County a year or so, and then moved to Amarillo for a few years and then decided to make that ship back. So he is hired on as our assistant director, and he would love to take questions from you.
Thanks.
Luke, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming back to Finney County.
Of course.
Any questions for Luke? All right,
Sweet.
thank you. Any other questions for Kenny? Kenny, excellent report. I appreciate the changes and advancements, improvements, everything that you've done for Finney County. We are so thankful to have you here.
No problem. Thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful day.
You too. Next is the quarterly idle funds report from the county treasurer, Trista Joyce, who is home ill today with the rest of her household.
Can we,
So,
Madam Chair,
yes, sir.
can we ask the counselor at this point, since Trista's not here, as to where the process is for the next tax sale?
I have been working with Trista on that. We've had conversations last week about where all of that is, and we're moving forward with that, so.
All right, very good. That's all.
Okay, anything else? All right, moving on to the county administrator update with Derek.
I would like to ask Interim Director of Road and Bridge, Larry Brungart, to come and give a report on the weather events.
Good morning.
Good morning, Larry Brungart, Interim Road and Bridge Director. Our storm event last weekend, we did have two crews of 12 hours apiece that was running all week long with the trucks. Friday night, we had the 4 trucks, and we had 2 techs in the shop and a supervisor. We did break one snowplow. Frame on it broke. It was down about 2 hours. The shop was able to fix that Friday night. Saturday from 7 to 7, we had the same 4 trucks running all day long, plus we had 5 motor graders come in, and we were working on the blacktop roads. We did get one blade out on dirt roads just a little bit, but we were concentrating on the asphalt to get that cleared. Saturday night, we ran from 7 in the evening and came in at 4 in the morning. We did have another breakdown. We broke a gearbox on a belt feeder on one of the trucks, and it's still down. We're waiting on parts, hoping to get it today. So we ran those all night long. And then on Sunday, we had the 3 plow trucks, and we had 1 motor grader come in, and they ran until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Then, of course, we had cleanup on Monday and Tuesday. We did have a little bit of an issue getting anything to break. The temperatures were so low that we just started to sand and salt the intersections, bridges, curves. It just wasn't going to break until we got enough temperature. And we had 2 trucks also trying to keep the Jones Avenue and Railroad Avenue clear, as well as the Tyson Road, IBP Road to Tyson. Have been talking with McKinsey and Derek. We have a F-450, a heavier pickup that we got from the weed department earlier last year, that we're looking at getting a plow and a salt box for it so that we can concentrate on putting that in the subdivisions. That'll give it a little bit easier for the operators. It won't require a CDL operator to be in those to run that truck, and it would be easier for them to clear out in there and not so hard to get into the cul-de-sacs and some of the things. It's really hard not to, do damage, or you'll try not to, but it's hard with those bigger trucks. So that would also turn the bigger trucks loose out on the longer stretches of road. Did pretty well. Didn't have as many calls. We call that a win. Usually we always get plenty of calls if we need to, so we can respond where we need to go. We did have a few of the pickups that, like I said, non-CDL drivers that were running ahead during the daylight hours, letting these trucks know, hey, this needs to be hit, this doesn't. That was pretty well. We needed to hit everything. But that does help in sometimes when we have a little bit less in a certain area, instead of running a truck or a motor grader several miles when it's clear, actually. So actually had pretty good weekend. Like I said, had a couple of breakdowns. We were able to fix one, hoping to have the other one fixed today.
Excellent. Thanks for your report. And thanks for the creative thinking and, trying to come up with other options. I think that's awesome. I hear really good reports about your work from our administrator, and I'm thankful for that.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate your hard work.
And the crew, just these guys are reason we had less motor graders on Sunday. We've got to pull some of the operators to help drive trucks when we're running 2 different crews. We're running 24 hours, so some of these guys will come out of the motor grader and get into a truck. So.
Now, I want to publicly thank Larry and his staff, Public Works, I think they did an amazing job, and they're really starting to step up to the table, and they have in the past. So really appreciative of their efforts. They had a long weekend, and I saw them Monday morning, and they were all smiles. So I also want to thank first responders, SO, EMS as well, and building maintenance for all their work that weekend. So.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Any questions for Larry? All right, thank you. Do we have our county attorney here? Yes, we do. She has a report for us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're going to try this year something a little bit different and try to get before you at least every other month to kind of give you an update about what's going on.
Wonderful.
Because I think it's a lot in the budget season to kind of take in everything we do all year long. But it's not as pretty as what Kenny was able to put forward. We're a little bit more black and white than that, I think. Just a snapshot of what we took in last year, and we totally took in 1,470 cases and declined 126, leaving a total of 1,277 cases that are active throughout the year. That doesn't mean that we are limited to that 1,277, because there will be cases that come back through as probation violations or things that we didn't get resolved the prior year or years before. So there are more cases on the books that are open than what is shown here. We'll decline cases for multiple reasons. One may be that it's an insufficient investigation, so we'll return it back, hoping for additional information. Sometimes it's just not sufficient, period. And so no matter of additional investigation will help us out. But I think you need to know some of those things too. For kids, when we're looking at truancies, we had started a truancy program a couple years ago in conjunction with Beth's group over at the Community Services Center and Youth Services. And so they'll take those truancies initially, and we attempt to get the rehabilitation there before we ever file a truancy case. So those numbers go up and down every year. If we have a kid that comes back through a second, third time, we're probably going to file that without that rehabilitative measure. And so those numbers kind of fluctuate. I think the year prior we had maybe 50 cases of truancy, and this year we had a few more. So it kind of depends. The same with the child in need of care cases. Those fluctuate with what's going on in the community as well. Our juvenile offenders, we try to send them through a different program before we file. That's another rehabilitation type of program. So there are cases out there that we're handling that don't show up necessarily on the books because they haven't been filed. And those will be transferred between our office and Youth Services and back again in the event they don't successfully complete that program. So traffic is where we get all of our diversion funds typically, that and our low-level misdemeanors, or our misdemeanors and low-level felonies. So we encourage our officers to go out and write tickets for speeding, et cetera, and try to keep our streets safe, because I think long-term that helps us all. We are using our diversion funds primarily to help our first responders. And as you can tell, kind of going back through the numbers that we've included here, that we brought in a couple $100,000 last year, dispersed around $111,842.94 to our 501c3 organizations in town. And then we dispersed an additional $107,615.66 to our law enforcement for additional equipment. That's their wish list equipment. It's stuff that's not provided for in their budget. And so this last year, Holcomb received additional earpieces, chemical drug test kits to put in their cars. So each one of their cars has one, rather than having to wait on the car to show up that has the kits. Then now they can do them in the field. Radios, we bought a K9 for the PD. They had a K9 that went out of service, and so they asked us to contribute to that, and we did. That is an important piece of drug investigations and keeping our community safe as well. We were able this year to kind of reach out to EMS, and that's the stair chair that Kenny was talking about earlier. Some laptops, a drone was ordered for the sheriff's office, and just various other equipment, fire. It's pretty far across the gamut, all of the things that we've been able to provide, but we're really proud about that. All of that is done by the 7.5 attorneys that are in our office. And right now we have one that's on extended FMLA. So there's 6.5 that are handling it all. So we have to be really proud and thankful that we have the longevity and the character that is within my office. So I'll answer any questions you have at this point.
Yes, sir.
Susan, one thing that's not in your report, and I don't think the general public understands it, I think Kevin and I do and Jerry does, is the amount of time that your office takes, your attorneys take with the, they have to review every body camera, every
Yes.
piece of evidence of phone cameras, office cameras, and I don't think there's a way to put a stamp of how much time that takes, because if you don't review it, you're being derelict in your duties at looking at all the evidence. So, and cases are more complex today than they were 10, 20 years ago, where I know I read a study where like a detective could handle 30 to 50 cases 20 years ago, and today with the complexity of cases, the number should be around 15, 18 cases. And I'm sure that's similar with your office as well. Am I on the right track?
You're on the right track. One thing prosecutors haven't been very good about is doing studies as far as what an adequate caseload should look like. The defense bar has done a great job at that, and it is weighted based on the type of case versus and the number of hours that are anticipated to be needed for that type of case. Those studies right now are running about 5 years behind, and at one point, a defense attorney, and I think you would be able to call the public defender's office. Well, I know you'd be able to call the public defender's office, because when they hit 60 cases on their caseload, they stop taking cases at the public defender's office. We don't have the luxury of saying no. We have to take everything in and review it regardless of whether or not we have the staffing for it. So oftentimes we'll file cases we wish we didn't have to add to somebody's caseload. And that's why I think it's really important for you guys to understand that when a public defender is taking 60 cases and I have attorneys running 200, that's huge, especially when we talk about the number of hours of digital media that go with that. Even a DUI case may be 20 hours of every car that's on scene has a body cam, a car cam, and I think there's 3 in each car. There's a front, an internal, and a rear. So we have to watch all of those for every officer on scene. Yeah, so it's a big deal. There's a lot of time that's not spoken in numbers.
And then on your data that on the cases received, how many of those do you end up referring to, like the Kansas Attorney General's office or the U.S. Attorney's office? Is there a percentage of those that do?
The ones that we see here would not be the ones that would be referred on. Last year we referred, I believe, 5 cases to the Attorney General's office and 2 to the U.S. Attorney's office. It's pretty rare that we'll end up doing that. And usually it's on a conflict or someone that we feel, like with the U.S. Attorney's office specifically, that we feel could be better handled through federal statutes. Oftentimes the state works much better.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
Susan, I think a lot of folks don't really understand the cost of the body cams, both in acquisition and in the officer's hands. And as the chief law enforcement officer in our community, do you have an opinion as to the usefulness of those body cameras as to it relates to the conviction rate? I'm a big proponent of body cams because they do a pretty good job of convicting most defendants. Do you agree?
I think body cams are an integral part of our investigations. They're not the only part. And I think it's important for the public to know that just because you have a video doesn't mean you have a picture of everything that went on scene. And I think there is a misconception that if we have video, it's going to tell us everything we want to know. So I'd be very cautious in saying it would be the end all, but it's definitely a piece that we need to have in every investigation to the extent we can.
Well, I really want to commend your appropriation of diversion funds for use in law enforcement, and particularly the body cams. We'll revisit the appropriation process when it's time for that. But for now, for your annual report, people that are using the diversion funds or using diversion get a heck of a benefit, and your office monitors them. And just because they pay a fee doesn't mean they don't have to perform. And secondly, the allocation of funds back to our community is important, and I commend you for that. Thank you.
Anybody, you have anything for us, Kevin? No? Susan, I want to thank you. That was an excellent report. I appreciate also your appropriation of the diversion funds, especially to a lot of those 501c3s as well. I think it's important that we do that, and I'm really excited that you want to come in quarterly and give us reports. We will look forward to that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, meetings of note.
Really nothing new to point out there.
Okay, I think was my...
Madam Chair, the only one that I would point out is the upcoming legislative coffee is February 21st.
Thank you. And I do have committee assignments for 2026. And I'll just go through those, starting with Commissioner Schultz. We'll continue your involvement with the Compass Behavioral Health and the Countywide Sales Tax Oversight Committee. I would also like to appoint you to the Finney County Committee on Aging. For Commissioner Utes, I'd like for you to continue your involvement with Great Plains Development, the Waste Management Committee, the Finney County Local Emergency Planning Committee, and then the LEC Renovation Committee as the chairman. And also, I'd like for you to participate on the Jail Facility Committee as well. Commissioner Basque will continue your participation with Parks and Recreation, the Finney County Fair Board, Finney County CVB, and West Plains Extension District. I'd like for you to be the chairman of the Jail Facility Committee and participate also on the LEC Facility Committee. Commissioner Jones will be continuing the Juvenile Detention Center Advisory Board, Local Area Workforce Development, and the Health Department EMS Facility. For myself, I'll continue with the Finney County Economic Development Corporation, Planning Commission, Library Board, where I am actually a trustee on that board. And I would also assign myself to the Audit Committee and to the Fiscal Committee. Does anybody have any questions or changes for that? Okay, and let's go to Commissioner reports. We'll start with the most senior present.
Thank you. I attended the Compass meeting. I attended the chamber breakfast meeting, and also been working on assisting and getting preparations done for the showcase. The Western Kansas Showcase for Healthcare is this Thursday at the exhibition building. And the chair has agreed to cover for me in making the announcements, and also it's my understanding that our administrator will be there to make summary or closing remarks to the kids. It is expected that over 250 students will be attending that showcase. This will be the largest showcase in the history of their process of trying to build careers for persons in Western Kansas. I went to the community needs assessment for healthcare at St. Catherine's. Had a very good visit with Jason Justice, the new CEO for Common Spirit, and encouraged him to continue to be participating in the healthcare showcase. I would point out that St. Catherine's will be there for the showcase with a full staff, and I compliment the new CEO, Mr. Justice, for his involvement in building the public relations part of Common Spirit St. Catherine's Hospital here in Garden City. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Utes?
Busy month. I attended the LEPC, Local Emergency Planning Committee. We did a tabletop exercise. It went very well. At some point, I'd like to meet with Derek and you, Vicki, and Madam Chair, on more involvement from Finney County, as well as some training that was brought up. Attended Crime Stoppers Board meeting. They are working, Susan, they are working on a 501c3. They have been, and we're pushing the envelope on them. Every Friday morning, I've been, the last 3 Fridays, been attending the Zoom meeting on KLPG. I would encourage the community, our constituents, and this board to pay attention to some of the bills that are being proposed by our legislators. Some are out there. Last night I heard on the news there's discussion of a city-county income tax. Again, Doug Smith, he made mention at one of the meetings. He said, some of these bills are just being proposed because somebody brought it up and it's election year. So some of the bills won't even make it to a hearing. I attended a legislative coffee. Again, they're talking about property tax relief. Make sure you contact your legislator on these various bills. I attended the annual Finney County Conservation meeting, chamber breakfast, as well as Great Plains Development Inc. board meeting. Nothing to report on any of those. Attended the annual Eco Development meeting. I was very impressed with the comments and discussion that Eco Development had brought up. And I also attended the evening Finney County Live Well meeting. Had a good discussion with Justin as well. Very impressed. So hopefully we'll see some movement there. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Basque.
I attended in January 3 of my board committee meetings, Fair Board Convention and Visitors Bureau and West Plains Extension District. That's why it's kind of a learning process for me for those 3 boards last year. That's why I'm excited for the opportunity to remain associated with those 3 boards. So maybe now that I've got my feet wet, I might be able to offer some type of benefit to them, in this second year. But those are organizations that previous to being assigned to them, I didn't have much working knowledge about how they operate. So anyway, I'm excited about that. Also, last week, on Tuesday, I attended KLPG in Topeka in reference to legislative matters and how they impact and affect local government. And then on Wednesday was County Day for the KAC. Kind of a similar learning experience about legislative matters that are going on. And then later in the afternoon on Wednesday, went to joint Kansas Municipalities and Kansas Association of Counties group deal where the governor spoke to the group, and it was kind of a nice presentation that she gave, especially in regards to the state of Kansas becoming the home of the Kansas City Chiefs. So she talked about that. That seemed to be kind of the main interest of folks here, and the investment that the state has decided to put into attracting them across the state line into our state. And I think they're pretty excited about the potential of return in investment to be far greater than the investment that they're put forward for that. So the other thing is that we were able to meet with kind of a new caucus that's been put together for legislators who have previously been city commissioners or county commissioners, and their better understanding about how state legislation can affect and impact local government. So especially when it was pointed out that there are some legislators in our state who don't really care about what they do up there and how it may impact or affect local government. So it's kind of nice now to have a new voice, and I do plan on participating as much as possible on things that happen up in Topeka, especially in regards to how they impact us. And I know one of the things that was mentioned was talked about, I think on both days, was that there are, I think they said there's 13 state mandated programs that counties are required to fund every year, and that number, and the state gives us no funding to operate those, and that it basically equals about half of our county's budget every year. And so when people start talking about reduction of property taxes, it concerns me that half of our budget we can't reduce because it's state mandated that we provide those services. And so now you're looking at the other half of probably very critical needs that nobody in our community, although they do want their property taxes to go down, that if we did, it would severely impact the quality of life and the services that our community has always appreciated and needed. And the governor even mentioned that, and so did others, that over the next 3 years, they're planning on reducing the state budget by $200 million each year. And the comment was made that although they're interested in doing that, they're trying to find out, or they're discovering that nobody wants their service eliminated. So that's always kind of the way it is that you want your taxes reduced, but at what cost? What service do you want eliminated? Because everybody has become accustomed to having those particular services. But I know locally that we'll continue to look to spend our tax dollars as best as possible for our community. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. For my report, I did attend the Builders Association luncheon, the chamber breakfast, and Finney County Economic Development Corporation's annual meeting, which was impressive. I hope that content gets out there to the community, and I've spoken with Lana about that. It's very exciting. I did attend the library board meeting, and we will have the provider of our library services, LS&S, a representative will be at our next board meeting in February, and we'll have some board training, so that will be exciting. And I was at the Live Well community meeting luncheon as well. I was not able to attend the legislative coffee as I was ill that day. I will be traveling to Topeka today for the Kansas Association of Realtors Day at the Capitol. They encourage us to get out there and meet our legislators and visit with them. So I think it's a really good opportunity for that. I think they shut me off. Oh, there I am. They're like, And I will be staying an extra night for the opportunity to testify on Wednesday, the 4th at 9 a.m. regarding House Bill 2495, which is the legislation that we had worked with Representative Lewis regarding the riverbed issues. So I will be giving testimony on that. I know that Lana has also submitted some testimony, and if anybody else has anything that you would like to submit, you can touch base with Derek for find out how to do that, or you may already know how, but if anybody's interested in doing that, the more voices, the better, I would say. And I believe we do have need for an executive session. Is that correct, Madam Counsel?
When we originally put together the agenda for this one, we thought we might need one today, but I think it's been determined it might be a bit premature to have that discussion, and we'll probably count on having one at our next meeting.
Okay. Very good. Next commission meetings, February 17th, regular session at 8:30 and a work session at 10, or as soon as possible following the regular. March 2nd, a regular session at 8:30 with a work session at 10, and March 16th, regular session and a work session. So we're going to be pretty busy over the next month. We also have a board training coming up on, I believe it's the 12th.
That is correct.
Okay. And that's kind of an all-day affair, so we're looking forward to that. With no further items on the agenda, I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you.